I've got two words. Ominous events. Minecraft 1.21 and the devs, oh boy, they were cooking with this one. What if 1.21 has more ominous events in store? Today, let's dive into that reality. Right now, inside of the 1.21 update, there are two ways one could go about getting their hands and making their world feel slightly more ominous. Way number one, the first method is maybe the vault, but probably most commonly is going to be this buddy right here. Inside of your world, those standard old-fashioned patrols always annoying you. You take one of the banner heads out, and now no longer will you get the bad omen effect. No, instead you get the ominous banner and a new item called the ominous bottle. Now the ominous bottle comes in 5 different forms, level 1 all the way up to level 5. Our not so trusty buddy, the banner head, can drop any level of the ominous bottle, whether that's level 1 or level 5. Every single time you take it out, it will drop 1 ominous bottle. Looting doesn't affect it. Next step of the game today, once I've got my hands on an ominous bottle, no matter the level, doesn't matter at all, I go ahead and drink that bottle, and just like that, I've given myself the bad omen effect. If I drunk an ominous bottle with a level of 1, I will get the bad omen effect for an hour and 40 minutes. If I drunk a bad omen bottle with a level of 5, I will get the bad omen effect for 1 hour and 40 minutes. Now from that point on, assuming you're not a milk drinker or something, it's off to your local Minecraft village or trial chamber. So check this out. With a bad omen effect, unfortunately, still afflicted to me, as soon as I get close enough to this village, in the top corner, it just flipped and changed over. Checking the inventory, I've got 30 seconds to decide if I actually want to take on this raid, which is now considered an ominous event. If I don't want to take the raid on, no big deal. I go ahead and drink the milk bucket, and just like a milk drinker, life is nice and easy. But hey, rewind that one more time. Let me say that one more time with slightly more emphasis. The raid is now an ominous event. Flipping things the other way around, down deep under the ground, once I've located a trial chamber, and more specifically a trial spawner, it's time to consume the bottle. Just like before, no matter what, I get that bad omen effect. The big thing happens here once I get close enough to a spawner. Just like that, a bunch of blue particles pop up, and the effect in the top corner has changed. How it was stated to work by the devs is, depending on the level of ominous bottle that you drunk, say level 1 or level 5, you would get a different length of the trial omen applied to you. Now this seems like it might be a little bit bugged right now, with the player getting the trial omen effect for 15 minutes every single time, no matter the level. This ominous event system definitely sure feels like it's a whole lot more, right? Because I mean, otherwise, why would they go to the trouble of updating rates? Why in the world would they have gone through the trouble taking the time in Minecraft 1.21 to basically rework how raids kind of actually work, and how you start them, the center point, all of the technical details I didn't go over, and everything? Wow. Look, what I'm getting at here is this effect is super versatile and all begins with one single starting point, the ominous bottle. Who knows, maybe the devs are just trying to clean up Minecraft a little bit more, and they have this whole bad effect, and the raid is a whole bad effect, so why not kind of make it the same bad effect? But on the other hand, could there be more ominous events on the way? So this is where this video gets real fun. If there's more ominous events on the way, and those ominous events are, say, going to take place at a specific location, well, what locations in Minecraft could they take place at? And what could happen? Here are some of my best cooked ideas for more ominous events that could make their way to Minecraft. Oh, and real quick before we get to this, drop one that you'd love to see down below, and tap that like button really quick if you haven't yet. It helps me in these videos out big time with the YouTube gods. Here I am, and so after hours and hours worth of exploring, the most obvious one of all. Now there are already a couple of parallels between this structure right off there in the horizon and the trial chambers. Namely, the map that I used to actually be able to locate this structure and where I would have obtained that map from. So right here on the horizon, if you haven't noticed yet, I've got myself a woodland mansion. Quite obviously directly tied to the Illagers, maybe even the baddest, biggest, main hub for the Illagers of all time. Ominous events. Ricky, pull that chart back up again. Yeah, thank you. Quite obviously, already kind of related to Illagers. In my opinion, maybe the most obvious extra ominous event that could be added to the game happens when we drink a bottle and head over to our local woodland mansion, maybe move inside of it for the first time, and then boom, it flips over to the ominous mansion event. In my eyes, there are one of two ways that you could go with an ominous mansion event. Option number one, it's basically the same as the ominous trials. These Illagers, they're all knowing, evil, demonic beasts. They kind of spawn in your world and wander around, so clearly they've got a little bit of intelligence to their whole intelligence, right? Maybe they've rigged and laced this giant home, the little base of theirs, up with a couple extra special traps to go ahead and keep them safe. The whole time, while you're taking on an ominous mansion with the ominous mansion event, different effects are being thrown on you and the pillagers to buff them up. Just things that are in general gonna up that difficulty. Not that the difficulty needs to necessarily be upped at all. It's already pretty difficult. Yeah, we'll go ahead and up the challenge inside of the mansion with an ominous event. After all, that would be a late game decision. You went there, you made that commitment, now you deal with the bad things. The other thing that could happen is maybe different mobs would spawn inside of the mansion as well. Like maybe say more zombies or skeletons or something like that. Well, you have the ominous mansion effect. But what else goes on with a woodland mansion? I mean, like let's say after you find the mansion the first time, take it out, then what do you do with the thing? Oh, what's that? You say nothing because you've raided the whole thing and they don't respawn ever. Well, it doesn't have to be the case anymore. Imagine us this. We don't want the mansion to become too overpowered, right? So maybe you need to find yourself an ominous bottle, drink it, head over to the mansion, and then after you've taken it on the first time, well, after you walk back into it, it'll respawn either all of the illagers that were there before, so evokers, vindicators, whatever, or, like say, based off of the level of the ominous event, you would get a different amount of evokers, other terrible mobs, bad things, and yeah, you can take the challenge on again. Considering the fact that the best loot from those mansions is probably from those evoker things, and this fits in perfectly with the whole idea of 1.21 and replayability with the trial chamber and multiplayer. But clearly, as we've seen from Ricky one more time this chart, perfect, thank you, the ominous event is not only linked to villagers, illagers, and things like it. No. Ah, yes, the mineshaft. One of Minecraft's oldest, maybe most iconic structures, has been in the game for like 15 years, practically. Maybe it's about time we modernize the mineshaft with, no, not a rascal, but instead we go ahead and drink an ominous bottle, move into the mineshaft, and find something that's unique to it, like, say, a cave spider spawner. In my theoretically terrifying ominous mineshaft, once I get close enough to the cave spawner, this is gonna be the thing that sets it off. After that, the bad omen would instantaneously convert over into, like, ominous shaft or something. Maybe a better name. Now, there are a couple different cool ideas we could do with the mineshaft. Of course, first things first, more cave spiders all over the thing. That would be a nightmare and would make it almost like a different kind of more fun challenge. Run through the maze, fight the cave spiders, and see how long you could survive. It's like a mini game, kind of like the raid, built straight into Minecraft with basically the things already pre-existing. Because this challenge would be a little bit different than the trial chamber with no vaults or anything like that, this would be a completely different challenge. Almost more of something that you just do for fun because why not inside of your world. Now, my other vision here gets a little bit more abstract, but let's throw us back to the April Fool's snapshot, not from this year, but a year ago. In that snapshot, there was this rover thing. You interact with it. Maybe this is the ominous effect approaching a cave spider spawner. You interact with it, a thing falls down, and then all of a sudden a structure expands right in front of your very eyes. And that structure, it's like a giant maze, kind of like the mineshaft. Look, I have no clue how they would do this, but it would take horror vibes to the max. You walk into the mineshaft, ominous bottle right next to the cave spider spawner, and then just like that, the mineshaft seemingly grows out of thin air. The expansion, it's a one-time event, but maybe a new room with a vault pops up inside of the big maze somewhere, and you've got to work your way through it and find it. It says it in the name. The Pillager Outpost is quite literally the outpost for all of the bad guys' operations inside of your world. Also tied into the ominous event, I mean, obviously the pillagers spawn here, also the bannerheads spawn here. Considering the fact that so many of the bannerheads that know and hate your world begin their existence inside of your world at this place, maybe there should be an ominous event here. Alright, so I'm not gonna lie, for this one I kind of had a little bit of difficulty brainstorming what could go on, but then I think I stumbled on something maybe pretty much perfect. The ominous bottle. We drink it, we get the bad omen, we walk up to the outpost, ominous outpost. Into the ominous outpost land here, once we approach this thing, all of a sudden the mobs that are spawning here, the reinforcements, are a whole lot more dangerous. Instead of just plain old pillagers spawning here, maybe say vindicators spawn here, or even witches as well. Then the point is, well, that's where it falls apart. The point is for fun, all right? I guess maybe we could have, like, one of these floors fill in magically with the ominous event, and all of a sudden there's more loot. So you gotta, like, actually get into the structure, get to the stockroom, whatever. After all, the loot here for the structure is leaving something to be much desired. On the other hand, the ominous effect could be a little bit more simple, with the pillagers armed around this outpost, maybe just getting a little bit more tough. Maybe say, like, a health buff or something. Next up, third to last, I've got an ominous event that is so abstract, but I feel would be absolutely fire. Now, by the way, before making this video, I did a little bit of perusing over on Planet Minecraft and on CurseForge and the likes to look for different ominous events, and I really couldn't find very much. So if you're something of a technical laddie person, I would love to see what you can cook. Anyways, out here in the big, wide, vast open blue, we need to look for something that already has met an uncertain and unfortunate fate. Somewhere inside of this giant coral reef, and maybe more specifically, there is the next ominous spot. Alright, so I don't know how this one works. We drink the ominous bottle, we jump down into the water, we find a shipwreck, something that is already inherently, potentially terrifying. We approach it, and then all of a sudden, we get wrecked. As in, we get the wrecked effect right here, and something new begins. So it's kind of crazy. If you think about Minecraft, a world, and how it generates, water is a pretty large part of it, but really only one battle takes place inside of water, maybe two if you want to count Trident Drown. Imagine approaching a shipwreck with the ominous effect, and then all of a sudden, maybe a new mob or two pops into the game. And perhaps these new mobs are a new Illager offshoot, except this time, they're departed from this world, being something of ghosts, manifesting themselves around the former vessel that they once sailed the great wide ocean with, looting villagers along the way. When it comes to a lot of these ominous events, especially if we're talking about new mobs, the best loot or reward could happen from whatever those mobs are. Like, you take them out, you get the Totem of Undying, except this time, maybe it's like some kind of water-breathing thing or something like it. That way, the plain old shipwreck loot, like what we already have here, wouldn't change at all. If you like the shipwreck how it is and you don't want to fight a mob under the water, do a whole boss battle out in the open, well, no big deal. You just loot the shipwreck, get your bamboo, and keep moving. This is one of my favorite ones. Like, I can imagine it here. In the light blue hazy water, we have, like, hazy blue looking mobs that, like, float around with swords and try and take you out. Like, oh, that would be so cool. Flashback, throwback, rewind. 4 years ago, 2020, the Iceologer. Oh, man. One of the greatest unused Minecraft concepts of all time. Quick think fast. Where did the Iceologer live? Ah, yes, that's right. The Iceologer, a home to none other than the Frozen Peaks biome. A rare, but still not impossible to find biome. So this one really expands on what the idea of the ominous events could actually be. Like, instead of having the ominous event being contained to, say, a structure, why don't we have it contained to a biome? For this one, it begins all the same, except the Friends and Foes hasn't updated yet, so imagine. We drink our ominous bottle, then we go ahead and locate the Frozen Peaks biome, and inherently, nothing would be in the Frozen Peaks biome. Like, you come here without the ominous effect, and nothing is going on. However, if we come here with the ominous effect, as soon as we say, like, get deep into the biome or something, one of these buddies would pop in, the Iceologer. After that, it's kind of like a boss battle inside of the Frozen Peaks biome. He's gonna freeze you using things that are, like, literally already in the game, so it would be a more small update. You gotta dodge the ice, and if you don't dodge the ice, you get frozen. No, please don't do it. Then after that is chasing this buddy around throughout this thing, trying to not unlife. Please, buddy, go away. Nope, you're done. We beat him. And just like that, we get the reward. Because of how this ominous stuff is done, it is instantaneously replayable whenever you want. You just get another bottle, come back, and check it out. Multiplayer, single player, whatever, no big deal. All right. Last but not least, so you're probably getting tired of my ideas at this point, but last but not least, we have this humble little structure right here called the Desert Well. If I had an ominous bottle, I could say maybe walk up to the well, and this would be almost like a true Easter egg feature. Like, there would be nothing really hinting at this, but you drink the ominous bottle, walk up to the desert well, and usually desert is big, wide open. So why not maybe have a brand new boss battle going on in the desert? Just like that, we walk up to the well, and strangely, the Illusioner, something long gone and forgotten, is summoned back into the game. Maybe that's lore-wise why the desert well actually even really exists in the first place. Which one of you is real? Please, leave me alone. Okay, look, maybe I take it back. I hate these things. I remember that I really don't like them. I hate them. Stop it. So, ominous events, what other ones would you add to the game? And maybe some inside of the end or the nether, or for lore reasons, should they stay inside of the overworld? Call it down below. Our final big question here today is when? There are so many cool, great, amazing potentials for the Ominous Trials, and I can almost say for sure, I feel like at some point in the future of Minecraft, we'll end up seeing more ominous events, but that big question is when. If a Minecraft 1.21 is just about fully finished and we're getting pretty close to a release, there's probably not really going to be time for more ominous events inside of the main update. But what about, say, 1.20.1? What the devs did with Minecraft 1.20.5, I think, is maybe a look into the future of Minecraft and how development might actually start to happen. I mean, think of how quickly they were able to actually add a brand new mob and a bunch of wolves to the game, and then think of how much the community actually loved it. I mean, the devs had to have seen this and taken note and said, hey, yeah, maybe we should do that again in the future. Imagine how cool an update would be if 1.21 is, say, the beginning of the update, and then for like the next couple of months to follow, the update expands with features related to that update. Say maybe a brand new ominous event introduced to the Desert Well in 1.20.1. Oh, and also, I didn't really mention it too much today, but you can modify any of the structures that we took a look at if replayability is the big concern. Add maybe a vault or two, and then a way to get the keys, maybe like from the mob drops. Anyways, ominous events, I absolutely love them, and that's all I have to say about them. Tab like and subscribe for more videos. On the end card is another video and a playlist I think you'll love, and maybe consider checking it out. And down below are all of the links of mine that you need in your life. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.